membership in it. Have any of you had that? Okay. You know what I'm talking about? When someone's like, oh, I want to become a member. And there's that conversation that sort of then ensues. Out of curiosity, for those of you that have, what do you typically do with that request when someone requests to be a member of your organization or group through MapWorks? You just approve them. A lot of people do. But I think that's kind of like, to me, that's sort of the Facebook mentality. It's like, oh, they like us, you know, yay! And we accept that friend request, more or less. One of the things I want you to think about within MapWorks is not that you don't want to encourage that, but maybe keep in mind that essentially this becomes a way for you to more effectively manage your roster as well. And so the way that I have encouraged people to do it is, that's fine, that's great that someone wants to become a part of your group. You are more than welcome to say, great, we would, accept that request to be part of the group, but make sure you connect with them and actually get them to move along in that membership process with your organization. Whatever that may be, because everyone's a little bit different. If that membership process is come to this meeting, then that's great. Encourage them and make sure you utilize that as a way to get them to move along in that member process. And if they don't ever actually become a member, it's okay to have that conversation with them in MapWorks and basically remove them from that roster, because essentially you want to really try to manage that as a roster for your organization. And so just kind of keep that in mind as you move forward. It is not Facebook. It is really meant to be more of a roster management system. So utilize that as a way to take and connect with people and get them involved with their groups. But ultimately, I encourage you to use it as a way to manage your roster and people who are part of your organization and really connect to your group. And that's different for everybody. Some groups, that's perfectly fine. The more the merrier. Some groups might have some more structured things that you need to do to be a part of the group. So just keep that in mind as we talk about MapWorks a little bit. But also just some other things. There's, of course, photo albums that you can create and use on there. Advertising of events and activities. If you haven't seen, of course, when you log in, there's what's called our flyer board, this thing. Hey, look at those posters. Those look familiar. This is basically when you submit an event through MapWorks. Currently, we use that as a method of promotion, as a way for you to take and help promote those events. These events appear here at the bottom of the page right here. Other things that people have put in terms of like news, events, activities, stuff like that, sort of populates and scrolls through there. Up at the top of the page, which my little laser isn't very bright. Up at the top of the page up there is where we will typically put those notices about things that are going on. So, registering for this kind of a workshop, re-registration for organization, et cetera, et cetera. So just to kind of, a little bit of orientation about what all is on that page and what all you see there. I will sort of announce this here. Knock on wood. What we are hoping to do over the course of this semester, and I would love some feedback on this, is evolve this process where when you do when you register or submit an event through MapWorks, it is actually beginning the event registration process. So that form that is a campus event planning sheet that most of you have probably seen or filled out to reserve a room would go away, and that would be done electronically through this process. So when you would fill out that event saying, so when Rita's like, oh, I'm doing this documentary movie series here, that when she fills out that form, that actually is the beginning step of an electronic event registration process. Earth-shattering. There are a lot of university processes that we need to evolve to take and make that happen over the course of the semester, but that is the goal.
But I know with these forms, you've also got to have sponsor signature.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a way to sign electronically?
Yes.
Or whatever?
The system, this is much more robust than we have used it. Let's put it that way. So we have used MapWorks as kind of this like, oh yeah, it's an organization you can just like page and you can do stuff with, and you can do some forms and register with us. It is much more robust than that.
Right.
And that's one of those functions that it will, knock on wood, we will be able to take and work through all of our expectations as a university to be able to do that. So yes.
Because I know my academic advisor is telling us you do nothing without it coming flowing
Exactly.
through me.
And that is essentially the expectation. So what would happen is, not to go derail and go down this path, but you would submit that initial event information sheet, that's through MapWorks. You would say, when you go and you would take and say event, you would fill out the basic event form, knowing that Rita is doing it, her advisor, her on-campus faculty staff advisor, would be sort of the first, quote, reviewer in the process.
Right.
And so they would review it and say, approved from their perspective.
Right.
Then from our perspective, it would be like another review, approved. And so those would become essentially electronic signatures or stamps. So yeah, because I think it's important for us to still make sure those organizational advisors are still in the loop. You know, and some of them, this may be earth-shattering, some of them really are involved and really want to know and really care, and some of them just, okay, what do you need? Sign it off the door. I know that's earth-shattering, that some of you have never seen or heard of such a thing. But that varies. But from our perspective, that organizational advisor is intended to be that first person that the organization or group has that conversation with to make sure university policies and procedures are being followed and that kind of thing. But, so that is something we hope to launch at the beginning of the spring semester, where that event form that you fill out through MapWorks actually is that first domino. And you would go through some other conditional logic and things like that. You would complete other forms based on what you select for your event. On campus, off campus, UC Mall, Library Mall, Rosebud Theater, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we sort of go on and start to connect with other places on campus. So, anyways, but in the meantime, this is a great way for you to take and promote those events and activities that you have going on campus over the course of the semester as well. It should start to connect with the university events calendar. So these events that you posted here will appear on the university's main events page and events calendar. You'll all be seen that before. University homepage, events, more events, it takes you to a bigger calendar. And so the goal is that all these will start to appear under the student organizations category within that calendar as well. To help promote, tell your story, and get the word out there and connect with the campus as well about what all of these organizations and groups are doing. So the MapWorks Bulletin Board, great resource. Make sure you're putting your events on there. At this point, get in the habit of doing it because it's a great way to promote what you have going on. Because everyone else who logs in through MapWorks, when they first get to this page, that's what they see when they log in. So it's a great way to kind of promote those other things that you have going on. And number two, because moving forward in the future, we hope that becomes the electronic method by which you start that event registration process on campus. Also, I think just kind of the organization directory, all of you are probably pretty comfortable with it because you've already got an organization. You've already got a group. But students who are wanting to get involved, this is where they typically land. If they're saying, gosh, I'm a political science major and I have no clue, you know, how to connect with other political science majors, this is where they're going to land, hopefully. Well, unless they talk to people in those classes, but you know what I mean. And so they're going to be able to search by category or by keyword and things like that. And so making sure you have accurate and updated information here is important because this is a way that we promote to lots of students out there about how to connect with those organizations or groups. I love playing soccer. Well, soccer. Oh, okay, there we go. So make sure those kinds of things are current and updated so the organization directory is useful. You can customize that homepage of your organization, and please do. You know, as I said, it's kind of, well, it's like Facebook. Well, yeah, and so I think spend that time and effort and energy on there to customize it. Make it representative of your group. Put those pictures so people can identify and connect with that look and feel of what you and your organization do. And so there is some customization you can do in terms of that banner across the top and header and some of those kinds of things that you can do. And that typically is done here at the bottom where that manage link is on the page. So you'll see this typical list of links will appear, and that manage link is where you would go to take and update some of that kind of stuff. I think even things that are just kind of other things that are in there sometimes that, unless you kind of tinker around with it, you may not realize or discover, but the ability for you to conduct an election for your organization through that method is one thing. So those people that are members of your organization, that's why it's kind of important to make sure that roster and things that you have in here is accurate because of some of those kinds of other tools. So you could, for example, conduct elections, and so members of that organization in your group could take and vote for things. And maybe it's not like your next president, but maybe it's what color t-shirt to wear. You know, any of those kinds of things can be conducted. I mean, let's be real. T-shirt is the most important thing. President, I'll get that next year. What t-shirt am I getting right now is really what it comes down to. Yes, we go.
And if anybody doesn't know, you can also sync the page to your Facebook page.
It goes on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so make it more dynamic, so it becomes more dynamic. And in theory, then somebody's not having to update it 8,000 different
Yeah,
places.
so it just shows up in a giant box.
Yeah. So what you have in your
You can
Facebook page
sync
shows
your
up
Mav
there.
Orgs page to your Facebook
Good to know.
page.
And do that through the managed link?
I think it's actually on the right, something, I don't know, it's.
I know I had that conversation, like, oh, you can do it. I personally have not done
If
it.
you're logged in, like, as like a, operator of the website,
Mhm.
then I think it's on the right-hand side. If not, then it's under manage.
And the company that this is posted through offers some support as well. So there is sometimes that opportunity, like if you come to us and like, I don't really know, they are more than happy to take and interact with you individually. They can get you what you need. If there's something that you're looking for to do that it can't do. So just some of those kinds of things. Elections, I think service hours are something a lot of our organizations and groups do or have an expectation. Individual members can log and record those service hours. Forms, so if there's something you're doing that you need to take and have, you'll be able to submit a web form, utilizing some of these kinds of things. I know a lot of people have used things like Google Docs and some of that kind of stuff. Great, fantastic, wonderful. This just becomes another resource, and in some ways it's something that I think you don't have to worry about some of that transition that sometimes occurs with some of those third-party types of things. I've been in that organization or group where it's like, hey, whoever